Well, this is
Yeah,
this has been great. I was
it's so
supposed
much
to
fun.
talk to you more about production stuff, but I think
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
we
dude.
had a good time.
I'm pretty sure our fans would love it too to see what we would. I mean, I made a song called Dynamite with Mike Williams, and that actually was in. That actually has the chords I think that I would use if I was working with you, because I had that setup floating around. I never really got to send it to you, but that would be a song like sound-wise that we could have done together. I think
Yeah, let me check that one out.
Dynamite. You should check the chords. It's also I think that's a song that we should have like chord-wise that we should have um, tried out like sound-wise. But that was a lot of fun doing that record with Mike. He's a good producer too. But
Nice. I'm listening to it. Cool song.
you like it,
I see what you mean about the chords.
right?
Yeah.
What is it about your chords that make it different? Does it have a name? Those
It's
chords?
it's it's just using the harmonic minor, I think. So like if you're in C minor, you use the B note and that gives you the G major chord.
Right.
Um, so there's yeah,
Yeah.
there's that.
Changing from minor to
Also,
major.
yeah, you change that one from minor to major. That's like a really common thing, just from classical music and everything
Mm.
to use. And I don't know, like if you can make a scale feel different if, let's say you are in, let's say you're in F minor, you can do notes like C sharp, or D flat, C sharp, D flat, C, D flat, E, and F, and you get a bit of like a Middle Eastern sort of feeling. So if you focus on those notes, um, and just really like the minory sounding notes. So like when I think of chords, I usually think of the characteristic of the chord
Right.
being in the first three notes that are in sequence in the scale. So like when I think of F minor, I really think of F, G, and A flat. And then if I think of using a B flat chord in F minor with B flat minor, I think of like B flat, C, and D flat. And if you keep it around those notes, I think you wind up with a really minor feel
Sound.
and a
Yeah.
sort of exotic feel and even a Middle Eastern feel. So it's like it's kind of almost like the opposite of the pentatonic scale, I guess is
Mm.
how
Do
I
you,
would look at it.
if you start a song, do you start with the chords or do you start? I'm pretty sure that fans like would love to know. Everyone has a different way of working though, but in the end of the day, everybody gets to a result they're happy with.
There's really only so many chords, right? So I usually start with the melody and then I try to make the melody accommodate, or the chords accommodate the melody. I think the melody is the thing that you sing along to. That's sort of the, you know, most important element in a song that you want people to walk away from is a good melody. So I think with the secrets chords, I looked up the chords
The secret
for
chords?
no, the secrets from my song with
Oh,
TXL.
secrets. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It was a
not
good
the
song too, man.
secret chords, but
Oh, yeah, yeah. I
but
see what you mean.
those chords were originally I got them from the Yeah 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 song, Heads Will Roll,
Yeah.
and I was like,
That's
oh,
a
these chords are
roll.
so
That's a
yeah.
roll.
They,
Yeah.
so I borrowed the chords from there, or stole them, or whatever. I mean, chords you can't really steal. Chords are chords.
Yeah.
So I took it from that, and that was a case where the chords were so interesting to me that I wanted to create a melody that worked with those chords. But oftentimes, I think it's more important to start with the melody, and then you sort of do it at the same time. Like, I don't. Are you decent on the piano? Can you kind of like work at a melody and then figure out at the same time the chords? that would work well with that. I'm sure you're pretty good on piano, right?
I can find my way, and I think the thing is just the difference is I never really had school in playing notes. I do everything on emotion. So sometimes I mean, I can play everything by ear. So if I hear a song on the radio, it takes me like a minute or so to figure out what's being
Oh
played,
wow.
and I can get quite far. But I just cannot always name like the give the chords a name, if you know what I mean. I know A minor, I know C major. That's the easy ones. I know how to play the F chord, and I know how to play all of those. But if I play sometimes, if I'll add like a ninth or a seventh or an 11, there's names for those chords that I just truly do not know. So,
Oh yeah. I don't
um,
think it's super important to need all the names for the chords like, diminished seven, flat five, add nine.
exactly.
Like
You lost me
at
there.
the end of the day, I think trusting your ear.
Yeah.
Like, I never went to school for music or took traditional lessons in piano, but um, I think there's like a certain amount of knowledge that helps you, and you're just good at that point, probably. Um, at that and past that point, you really trusting your ear
Right.
is uh, will take you the farthest. The one thing I'm kind of sad about is my ear in terms of tone and hearing things and then remembering them is not very good. Like I'll a lot of times I'll hear a note and then I'll play it, but I'll be playing the fifth.
Right.
So it's like a related note, but my ear is not very good at telling the
Ah,
difference.
I
I get
see.
those confused a lot. So
I
I'm
see.
really jealous of people who can hear things and then play them back quickly.
Yeah.
That's
But
cool.
I mean, I can, yeah, that's an advantage maybe, but it's not like I trained it. It's just I think a matter of being lucky with the fact that you can hear it and then apply it. But it also, if you understand the technique behind it, I really love the website hooktheory.com. They just
Oh, I
use a
love Hook Theory.
very easy way of explaining how to get to a start of a good song and how the chords are made. Like most of the times, it's just if you know, like we say in Dutch, if you know the trappen, which means it's like the steps. If you know the steps, it's either like 1 3 5 or 1 5 3 7. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah,
2 4 6, and then you
right,
go back to I don't know 3 or 1. If you know like the patterns, then it's just you can apply it to any skill, which
right.
is really. I mean, for me, it was really really helpful. But I love the way you mix too. I think one of the producers here that worked a lot of Tiesto's records too. He was saying to me that he was always taking, I think, Secrets as a reference in terms of dryness. Um, it's just so like dry in your face mixed.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, sounds great.
Thanks. It's funny. I ended up having it now for my live shows. I got an updated mix. I did that mix all on my own, but now I have a guy named Bob who's also in Holland who always helps me do the final mix on things because he's in a treated space and where I'm in a studio right now, but I
Right.
usually work out in my bedroom.
Wow.
So I'm always kind of scared of what I'm missing in terms of the sub frequencies and everything. But Secrets I did mix on my own, and then later I had Bob run a little mix over it, and he just fixed some things in the low ends, the
Oh
kick
yeah.
overlapping with the sub and things like that.
Right.
Um, but yeah, what about you? Actually, I have a question for you. So you have a label and protocol, of course, and I've started this Dharma thing. How's that experience been for you having a label and yeah, how have you liked it, and what do you look for in the music that you put out? Like, what's your whole game plan, your, whole attitude towards having a label?
That's a very interesting question. Well, I mean lower the music, you guys say. Okay, sorry. There we go. The reason why I started Protocol or my own label was because I legitimately felt that I was signed to a label that was not putting the interest for the artist as first, which is fine. But I was like, I want to make sure if I have songs out and then also other people that want to release songs through Protocol, I want to offer them the opportunity to be number one when it comes to the release, and not so much just a way to get the label bigger. So for me, Protocol, that's why we build a relationship with all the artists that we're releasing with Protocol. um, that most of them stick with us in terms of they come back all the time with their songs and their releases, and they even make their own videos on their own budget. And I feel that it's not because of me. It's not because Protocol is the most amazing label ever, but I feel like it has to do with the team and with the fact that we try to be very loyal to the artist and the the way they want their music to be put out. So so the game plan with Protocol was always to have the artist at number one, and then the rest will follow. And right now, I think more than ever, it's so important to give artists the opportunity to get their song out because there's so many amazing, talented producers out there that we probably don't know of. But if we would have heard their song, we would be instant fan. And I try to focus on all the producers and on music that I have not heard before. So we're going through a lot of demos, and it's a very interesting time because everybody is able to make music these days with a laptop and a headphone. You don't need an entire studio, as you said. You did most of your song in your bedroom.
Yeah.
That means that there's a lot of space for artists to grow their own identity only in their bedroom with a laptop and a headphone. So I'm really
Right.
looking for all those producers that don't have an amazing studio but are very talented with the things that they have. Like it's like a kid with the ball, a young Messi that has no arena and not even a great outfit, but is just very
Right.
skilled and talented.
I think you're right. One of the things that really gives me hope about running a label is just how many great producers there are that don't have anything going really. Like they're just getting started
Exactly.
and they're they're just as good or better than the guys with a big name,
Right?
but they've
Over the
they
studio,
just
yeah.
haven't been noticed, you
True.
know?
Very
Like
true.
like you know, I feel like sometimes you would think that, well, especially when you open up the inbox of a demo submissions folder, you have to go through a lot of stuff that sucks,
Yeah.
and you can you can sort of be you can get dismayed and feel like, oh my God, like, you know, what what is the point of this? Probably all the good guys are just, famous already or whatever. I would already
Right.
know about
Or have a
them.
better
But then
studio.
you find songs that are just incredible and they just remind you why it's important to always be checking
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
inbox
Yeah, I agree.
and yeah. So
But
then
you,
that's
how long do you run your
been
own label
really
now?
inspiring. It's how long have we had Dharma going? Yeah. It's been about over a year, right? 2 years,
What is the biggest
maybe coming up
difference
on 2 years.
for you running your own label right now?
Well, of course, finding the music is like the central uh, objective is just to find good music and put it out. But there's also this other component, which is the website. So the website is a place where we offer like samples and tutorials from me and just like resources for producers. And in return, we ask for $10 in subscription to basically pay for everything. So
Right.
it's we're super in the red right now because like making the website and all these things just costs a lot of money and the salaries of like label manager and everything, it costs a lot of money. But we're hoping if we get enough users that it will start paying for itself. I mean the thing I was really worried about, just being realistic, is dance music doesn't sell a lot. So to make money as a label, I wanted to make it a bigger thing. Not even to make money, but just to like be able to not lose a ton of money.
Right.
I wanted to have a website that, you know, does what I think I do best, which is talk about production and offer tools with production and have that supplement the label so that we can keep going and that we don't die. Like just in a very practical sense. That
Hmm.
that's that was a big part of it. But also, it's just I love it. Like, I've done packs with Splice. I've done a lot of tutorials on YouTube, and to have my own website where that's full of tools for producers, it felt like a long time coming to do something like that.
Right. Right.
How,
Right.
how do yeah, how do you feel about that stuff? Do you think you would make sample packs and I think you probably have before, right?
Yeah, yeah. I just did that with Splice. We did two
Yeah.
sample packs, and
How
but
was the experience for you? Did you like
so
it?
yeah, I think you're doing a very good job with your sample packs, 'cause I use a lot of your samples, and I know a lot of producers do use a lot of your samples.
Thanks,
So
man.
clean, very punchy, and I think it's also inspiring for producers that don't have access to a lot of resources, that you just have a few packs that can get you started, and you can make
Yeah.
your own sound out of those samples, which is which is why I think your samples are really good, because they just offer a very clean start. And with my sample pack, I just what I tried to do was, out of my signature sounding tracks, I just wanted to give people the opportunity to take all those elements and see what they can make of it. Take my kick drum, take my claps, take my everything. I would even use a standard master chain and add it to a project. That's something that we're doing right now, to just show people that the master chain is not everything. It really is about the mix. It's about how to
Oh, dude, it's
EQ.
all about the mix.
Yeah,
Mastering chain is you can't fix. What can you really fix in a mastering chain?
yeah,
I never understood why people get paid thousands of dollars to master something.
yeah,
It's all in the mix.
yeah. It's all in the mix. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
It's like, you can have the best, like the most powerful engine in a car. If the gearbox, if the transmission, if the tires, if everything else is not on point, you cannot get access to all that power. So you have to make sure that the routing is good first, when it comes to a car. And if the transmission is right,
Yeah.
you can offer it a lot of power, wherefore you can have, a very fast car. But um yeah, the chat is going crazy about all these things. I see there's a lot of people with questions, but
Oh,
the
what are they asking?
so yeah, there's let me pick. Someone saying Kashmir punchy kicks are fire. Uh,
Thanks, man. Yeah, let me
uh,
get on the chat. I've been dicking around on FIFA.
uh, thanks, Milan. Yeah, of course. Please send it over in Whisper. Um, do you guys have tips on how to learn efficiently when starting out? And Mr. Tom is asking. Well, I think, Mr. Tom, that you have to find your own way how to start. I'm pretty sure that Niles and me have a different way of starting, and sometimes, he will even change things up, and he will not even, have the same way of working. Same for me. You can get inspired of a vocal, of a melody, even a remix, even a song that already exists. Um, but to get back at your question, Niles, so next to the sample packs, I focus a lot on plugins. I did Kickstart in the past, which was
Oh yeah, man, Kickstart was huge.
it's I was excited for that one, and I was actually impressed by the amount of reactions on Kickstart. I saw a lot of colleagues using it, a lot of even hip hop producers. They'll just like use the Nicky Romero plugin. They wouldn't know who I was, and I'm fine with that. But what plugins do you
Yeah.
do you use the most? What are your go-tos?
No, let's talk more about Kickstart. So, that one blew up, man. Do you know how many downloads it's gotten?
Yeah, I do actually. Let me
How
let me
many?
get the sheet. Let me get the sheet. Uh, it's really insane. Actually, I never thought it would have been this big, to be honest. It was
Yeah.
just a quick way of Kickstart. Let me see. I'm looking it up as we speak. Kickstart sales and layout. Okay, let's see. It is. Oh, I only see sales. Let me see. Uh, let me see. Okay, it's over 400,000 downloads.
Wow.
Downloads. I'm not sure how many of them are actually bought legal, and actually how many are
How would you know about them if they
I've
weren't
because you can
if they
download
weren't?
the installer, I believe, and then
Oh,
there's people that try. We have very good protection thanks to Cable Guys, so I wonder how many
yeah.
people actually. This is not an invitation either, guys. But as far as I can see, out of the end, so it started in 2014, I believe, until now. So we're talking 6 years. Yeah,
Wow, congratulations, man. That's awesome.
yeah,
How cool is it to know that whether they pirated it or not, that 400,000 people are out there. They're
Right, I
using
agree.
something that you made.
Yeah, I mean,
Like that yeah, that's awesome, man.
we are working on a new version of that one. It's actually I have the design here. I'm not sure if you can see it, but the people
Yeah,
on.
show
Oh,
me.
let's see. Where's the camera? This is the new
Um,
design.
wait, I'm not seeing your camera. Let me see. How do I?
If you go to my stream, which is twitch.tv/Nicky Romero, you'll see it. Um, no, but we are very lucky that a lot of people just buy the plugin also because it's only, a couple of bucks. It's not that expensive. And
Yeah.
the new
Oh
addition.
wow.
Do you see it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing it. That's cool. So it's still pre-made shapes, right?
Yeah, but there's the new one features a couple of new options. Without going into too many details, is because we're still finalizing it. But you can actually move the shapes to your liking, but it
Oh, cool.
you can yeah, so you can adapt a couple of things, but you cannot like entirely make your own um, like let's say like a shape the shape of the actual sidechain. And the reason why we did that, otherwise we would have looked too much into otherwise we would look too much like other plugins that were already there. So we wanted to keep it
Yeah.
simple and stay to the core of the success of the plugin, which was the easiness to use it and the
Yeah.
effectiveness. And we also had to deal with the CPU usage because it's very low at the moment, and the more we add, like you're gonna lose some of the productiveness and some of the,
Right.
the easiness to use. So, but you can trigger the sidechain, which you also can. Not a lot of people know, with a MIDI trigger. But that's the update of right now allows you to do the same thing, but in the new version, it's going to be more upfront and easier to do.
Cool. Yeah, that's one thing is that if you put it on a bus that has it has a linear phase EQ or something, it'll mess up the timing of it. At least in Ableton, um, the timing will get off. So having a
Right.
MIDI trigger fixes the timing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's 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 cool.
Especially if
That's
you
smart.
use FX and if you use like fills and everything where you want to have the ducking working, um, where you're going off the grid. So,
Right.
what is your oh, we also did kick, which to develop kick drums. That one was also doing quite well. And right now we're looking into two. We're actually creating two new plugins. I'm actually gonna send it to you. I wonder what you think
Yeah,
about
dude,
the
Kick
idea.
Kick is great too, man.
Thanks, thanks. What are the plugins that you are using the most, and what are there things that you're facing while producing music that you think that need to be fixed?
That's interesting. I did just release my own plugin called KSHMR Essentials, which is it's 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 not crazy in what it does. It has like EQ and compression and multiband compression, just like everything that I would use in my chains for different instruments. So when you open it up, there's five categories to choose from. You have synths, you have kick, you have
Mm-hmm.
drums, you have bass, vocals, and then you have eight options in each of those categories. So like on a vocal, you'd have, compression, you'd have air, you have, it's like it's simple knobs, but it's a little more complex than a one knob, but still simple. It's like
Right.
eight one knobs basically for each category.
Well,
So in
that's
the
the
end, there's
same
just
thing. Yeah,
one.
I think that's super
Yeah,
effective.
yeah.
That's super effective. But and are you what is like the plugin that you use in every project like one plugin that you will find next to a synthesizer, but that you will find in every Kashmir project?
Wow, right, and not a synthesizer. Uh, I use this Devaster distortion a lot. Um, Devaster is made by, I'm trying to remember who makes it, but yeah, it's a distortion plugin that I like.
Right.
The
That's
name is
something
like
that's in
D16.
every.
Yeah, and I use OTT. I typically use the OTT from
Oh yeah, yeah,
Ableton.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, that that has problems. Like it starts to mess up the phase of things, obviously. But it's like if you use it on single sounds, I think that's cool. I think that's no problem. I mean, I use Melodyne all the time. I use Contact is probably the biggest thing. But I know you said not synthesizer or not
Right.
instruments, right? But
Not instruments. No, just like plugins, like effects or
yeah.
ways
Let
to
me
process your sound.
let me see. Let me pop open my computer.
OTT,
Open
something by
source.
Extra Records, is a good one too. Is that the same as with Ableton?
Yeah, it's basically the same thing. It's like a three band multi-band compression, and it does upward expansion, I guess. So it allows you to set a low threshold, and any signal that goes below that threshold in the band, it will turn it up.
Right.
So like if you have, like reverb or something that's likely to be lower than the main signal, when you put OTT on, the reverb gets louder. I'm sure you know how it works. Um, but for people out there, um, all right, I'm opening up Ableton. See if there's anything exciting that I've been using. I mean, I have plugins that I get excited about. Like there's this one called by Synaptic called PitchMap.
Oh
And
yeah, I
PitchMap,
know that one.
you know
Yeah,
that one?
yeah, that one is
Yeah,
sick.
that one's sick. So like it takes polyphonic audio
Hmm.
and then you tell it the MIDI that it should change its notes to. So instead of just like transposing the audio, it takes the individual notes played in like a full sample with, you know, like a major chord, it can turn it to a minor chord.
Right, right.
Um,
I th
it's really awesome.
I think Deadmau5 got a plugin like that with Steve Duda. I'm not sure what the name is, but
Oh, really?
I think they did a plugin like that works a pretty similar way. Do you
I
have any
I thought
experience
there was
with
Cthulhu, but
Oh, Cthulhu? Yeah, but that works different probably, right? Now you
oh
say it.
yeah, that one's different. That one gives you chord suggestions and
Oh,
there's
you're right.
okay.
Yeah, you're right. That's actually a different
Yeah.
way of approaching it. But have you used SurfEQ? That's interesting, guys, on the stream. SurfEQ, that's really
Yeah.
interesting.
I've used it. I haven't used it a lot. I know that it will identify like an element and it will chase it, right? So if you do a bump on your 808 at the C note, it will know when your 808 changes to an F note and it will give the same bump over at the F when your
Yeah,
melody.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and that's been useful for you. You've used that one?
So what I'm facing with a lot of progressive house, that this is really interesting. So whenever you change a bass note, for example, you
Yeah.
start with a G, you go to an F, you go to an A.
Right.
Every note has a different spectrum that it covers in the.
Right.
So it also, some notes have a lot of punch in your mix, and some notes just have, very low notes, which means they
Yeah.
lose punch. And there's different ways to fix that, I believe. And one way that I used to do it was just creating multiple channels for every note. So for
Oh
every note,
wow.
you EQ it differently to make sure that it sounds the same in the mix. But um, I just wanted to have that control over the notes. And Surf EQ allows you to, it kind of works the same way, but then automatically because it will detect the amount of frequencies in the played note and it will boost the ones that it's missing. You can set it up in a way where it kind of like does that for you. Um, so
Yeah, I have it. I should start using it. Today I'll try it out.
yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it took me some time before I figured out how it actually worked, but you can get a lot of it brings a lot of like space in your mix because the bass notes constantly kind of sound the same in terms of course they're changing, but it kind of like covers the same spectrum and it keeps the same I don't know how to say it really in English, but uh, it makes it just a lot easier and it's like less muddy.
Interesting. All
Yeah,
right, I'm gonna try. I'll try Surfer EQ out.
yeah.
Um,
Give us
yeah.
one of your
Have
give us one plugin that I should know about and try out tomorrow, like a cashmere
have you
secret.
okay, on the subject of EQ, have you tried Golfos?
No, wait, let me Google that.
Yeah, I believe it's Gulfoss or
Jewel Foss.
Gullfoss.
EQ.
Yeah,
Sound theory.
yeah. So this one's interesting. They
Ghoul
have
Foss.
they have some kind of frequency profile that
Oh
they
yeah.
think is pleasing to your ear,
Wow.
and when you put it on a sound, you you can adjust it to it'll make all these changes that make it more like the frequency spectrum they think will be pleasing to your ear. So you just put it on and you either select, I think it's tame or boost or something like that, and it will start changing your sound in a subtle way to just in their whatever target that they've set up to make it better.
Right.
Um, and it's pretty effective. And it's a dynamic EQ, so it's not just setting one setting.
Right.
It's making a ton of changes in real time. Like it makes like 60 changes per second or something.
Holy shit.
Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Wow. The outside looks a little bit like FabFilter, the
yeah.
Q3 in terms of the way it looks. I have no idea if it kind of works similar. But it looks sick, man. I'm gonna write this down, guys, in the
In terms
chat.
of EQ, Soothe is also nice. You mess with Soothe?
Soothe. No, let me look that one up. Soothe. Soothe EQ?
Yeah, Soothe is an EQ that it's a
Ook
bit like a
sound.
de-esser. Like it'll take harsh frequencies and try to tame, lower the harsh frequencies, but you can put it on anything. You could put it on, you put it on synths, you put it on like maybe a sample that you have that's a bit resonant. It has some whistling, some
Oh
resonance.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I see. It takes certain annoying or disturbing frequencies out. I see it on the website. Audio
That's
processor.
that's right. And
Wow.
th that one is good. And finally, as far as EQs go, have you messed with Track Spacer?
Yeah, Track Spacer is great. That one, Hartwell told me actually about that one.
Yeah, that's
It
a good one.
Track Spacer. It was like you can route it through the kick drum with the bass, and it will detect the frequency, right?
Um, it will. So track spacer, you send a side chain. Like let's take a simple example. You have a vocal over a piano. So you put track spacer on the piano, and you have the side chain coming from the vocal, and it
Yeah,
will carve out the frequencies that the
exactly.
vocal has
Yeah,
out of the piano. So it creates space in the piano.
right.
Uh,
Right, yeah, that's
yeah.
something that I think Hartwell told me about the other day in his project.
You know,
Sick.
it's a thing that as I've gone on with mixing so many songs, I've come to realize that you can't just have one setting that works all the time on the volume of, like if you have a drop, when the drop first comes in, you have three instruments, but two new ones get added 8 bars into the drop. You
Right.
can't just expect that you add the new things and the volume of the other instruments can stay exactly the same or the EQ of the other instruments. Sometimes they can, but I've found that to make good mixes, I have to do more automation where if I'm going to bring in something new and I want the listener's ear to be able to focus on the new element, I've got to make changes to the other elements. And so Track Spacer is useful for that. I mean, doing manual automation is useful too,
Right.
but Track Spacer is great for like, you know, halfway through a drop you have vocal come in, and everything in a drop, you know, to make it sound big was every element was as big as it could be in the first
Mm.
half of the drop. But when that vocal comes in, you want the space. So Track Spacer is useful for stuff like that.
Track
Really check it
Spacer.
out, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Track
Yeah.
Spacer. Yeah, I have it installed. I just didn't learn it. Met Mecco Music is saying heard about Track Spacer as well from one of Hartwell's tutorials in 2014. That's true. I think I saw it first, but I just never really got to use it. Good point. Thanks,
Yeah.
Niles. That's a good point, guys. As much as I love it, I have to sign off soon. It's like
Okay.
I have to join this session with the Spanish guy Rolf, who you just beat with FIFA. I am sure you can
Yeah.
sleep about this.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bad session.
No, 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 no. We'll have fun. Like it's always gonna.
Nah,
Music is
nah, I'm
gonna
just
bring
kidding.
the vibes. You played well. I'm excited to do one more soon.
Yeah,
Now,
we will.
yeah, that was
I look
good.
forward to it, man. I look
Thanks,
forward to
guys.
it. Okay.
Thank you for
Thanks, guys,
joining
for
and for the good
tuning in.
talk. Yeah, likewise, likewise.
Take care, everybody.
Take care, guys. Thank you, man.
See you, man. Bye.
Take care.